Ward 5, a key part of the Louisville Hospitality Association's compromise to ease tensions on Bardstown Road, faces a tricky path forward. They want to reinstate an old city law that required 700 feet of separation between liquor licensed businesses. But Wave News troubleshooter Mark Stevens found the state law allowing that has been repealed for nearly a decade. Mark.
Bars and neighbors in the Highlands have had a long back and forth. There were a bunch of legal battles in the mid to late 2000s, which ultimately changed state law. Flanagan's had sued over the 700-foot rule, arguing it was unconstitutional because the law only applied to Louisville and wasn't the same across the entire city. They eventually won, with the Supreme Court saying the law couldn't be enforced back in 2014. Lawmakers followed suit and repealed that language in 2017. Now, there could be another path to try and spread out the growth of liquor licenses. The Metro Council asked the Planning Commission to put more restrictions on liquor stores in the zoning code after a liquor store opened across the street from Moore High School. The Planning Commission will discuss that issue Thursday. Staffers have proposed adding distance requirements as well as changing which zoning rules allow a liquor store automatically. They may take up doing the same thing for restaurants and bars. Mark Stevens, Wave News.